Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Read, Share, Repeat, where we discuss books from the perspective of an aspiring fantasy author. Me, Carrie Share. And today I am bringing you another one of my tarot card book recommendations. If you're not familiar with this series, basically what I like to do is draw a random card out of my tarot deck and then try and find a book that I feel matches that card's particular energy. Now, of course, tarot is very subjective and everyone gets something a little bit different out of it. And moreover, I am very much an amateur myself when it comes to tarot. I don't do any readings, I simply do a daily draw as a way to teach myself the deck. And this recommendation series is another way for me to connect to tarot and learn more about the cards. But I don't think my interpretations are necessarily the correct ones. I don't think that there are correct interpretations. This is just my take on what is a very personal relationship with tarot for some people. Furthermore, I am not using a standard Rider-Waite tarot deck. I am using my Ethereal Visions deck, which is illustrated by Matt Hughes, and I have linked in the description below. I don't necessarily believe that the books I'm recommending are the end-all and be-all interpretations for these cards. If you have another one or one that you feel more closely aligns with the card's energy, let me know in the comments. I am always looking for book recommendations and I'm always willing to talk about tarot. And finally, I am not doing the cards in order. I am doing a completely random draw. I shuffled the deck and I am just drawing them one after another. They're in a completely random order. And the reason for that is I just think it makes this exercise just a little bit more interesting, that I'm not following a pattern and each draw is random and challenges me to really think about the cards, the interpretation, and what books I might be recommending. So with all the disclaimers out of the way, let's take a look at which card we'll be examining this time. For this recommendation, we have got Temperance. And look how stunning she is. If this doesn't convince you to buy this deck, I don't know what will. Temperance is another of the 22 major arcana cards and does not have its own suit or associated numerology. Major arcana tend to represent major life events as opposed to the minor arcana, which represent smaller moments or decisions. Temperance occupies a significant place in the major arcana, falling between death and the devil. Temperance most often is a reflection of balance, harmony, patience, or acceptance. Temperance is most closely associated with the element of fire, and when asking a yes or no question, represents a yes. Finally, alternate interpretations of temperance include higher learning, long-term planning, and, in some cases, alchemy, albeit to a lesser degree than the Magician card. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I really struggled with this one. I actually drew Temperance about 2 weeks ago and have been ruminating over all of the books I've read, everything in my library, trying to think of something that closely matches what Temperance is all about. And it's really difficult because when you think about it, the key words associated with Temperance aren't necessarily what you think of when you think of a fictional narrative that needs conflict. Temperance is all about harmony and balance and patience, which you don't often find in fantasy stories. But I think I have come upon what is the closest possible analog for Temperance, and that is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Now, I can't tell you too much about this book because a lot of the joy comes from not knowing what this story entails, but very loosely, Piranesi is about a man whose entire existence is spent inside this massive, unending house with huge rooms and halls that keep going on forever and ever and ever. And there are statues and oceans that crash through different parts of the house and birds and all sorts of wild things. And our main character, Piranesi, has dedicated his life to exploring this house. That is really his entire existence. He doesn't know anything else, and he is perfectly content with that life. He is fascinated by the many different halls and the statues, and he keeps a journal cataloging his finds. Although he doesn't have shoes or a bed or companionship, this is his life and he's perfectly at peace with it. However, there is someone else in the house, someone Piranesi only knows as the other, and And that is really all I can tell you about the plot. Truly, I highly recommend reading this book without knowing anything else. Just know it is very strange. It's very different in terms of fantasy stories, and I highly recommend you go in as blind as possible. That being said, I feel like if you've read Piranesi, you can probably see elements of Temperance, not just in the book itself, but in the title character. Even Piranesi's reaction to the climax, I feel perfectly embodies Temperance. While Piranesi's existence inside this house might seem troublesome or even frightening to some others, including the readers, Piranesi truly does enjoy his life and doesn't see anything wrong with his existence. And that to me is the embodiment of Temperance. Piranesi's patience, his methodical cataloging of the house's mysteries, and even the way he moves through the plot is really all about peace and harmony and balance and everything that Temperance represents. I wish there was more I could tell you, but this book offers so much when you know the least about it. So I'm going to leave it at that. A short but sweet recommendation, I hope. Just like the book. I read this on a rainy Saturday afternoon when I didn't have the kids, and I was in the mood to read something, and I looked at my shelves and I was like, what's something perfect for this moment? And Piranesi was perfect for a rainy Saturday afternoon in bed when you have no other obligations. Highly recommend that experience. And with that, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe or consider leaving a comment down below. In my next video, I will have an Adventures with Annotating vlog for you. I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then.